Yo, what's up, YouTube? So today we're going to be going over Helldivers 2, just looking at a few pieces of content that have dropped today about this drama, about the all of the things that have completely just went to hell, pretty much, literally, because they got the debuffs on the guns, they got the they did have a flamethrower that was pretty good at one point, and now it's just you can't even really do much with it anymore. So there is supposed to be I believe there's supposed to be a few buffs coming in the future, or there's supposed to be some reviews on some of the weapons that have been complained about. So let's see what one of my favorite gaming news outlets has to say about this whole thing here. LT Buzz Lightyear. We're gonna take a look at him, and then we're gonna take a look at a few other news outlets, and we'll see what's going on with that today.
Morning, Arrowhead released a very small balance patch aimed at correcting a few in-game issues, which, by the way, really didn't push the needle that much for the player base, especially after last week and all those controversial changes Escalation of Freedom ushered in. Welcome to the channel. This is Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear, and I wanted to hold off on posting my Helldivers video for today until we got the second part of today's update, which has just arrived. And this pivotal developer statement concerns all things Helldivers moving forward. Now, I know what you're about to ask, and of course the pressing question is, what does it change for the game right now? And that answer is unfortunately nothing.
Yeah, so it seems that the devs just really does not want to budge on this. I mean, I don't understand. Like, what would be the reason that it's so hard to just reverse what you've done that was working for everyone? Let's just go down here to the comments and let's see what a few comments say before we go further on with Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear. Um, let's see. It's a strong coincidence that Arrowhead's biggest issue is balance, as voiced by the players. Alexis tag is bringer of balance. The last game balance was Hello Neighbor 2, killing the game outright and making it not fun for players. And the latest community message says that the game needs to be balanced for fun, not spreadsheets. Something Alexis is absolutely known for: spreadsheet balancing. That's an interesting comment there. A new rule: if the devs decide to nerf a weapon, they are going to have to show us on a 4-person level 10 and show how to properly use the weapon they nerf. Wow, I'm sorry about reading these things so slowly. I just don't want to kind of mess over anything here. I do know how to read, but I just wanted to make sure that yeah, I gathered all of the information here, because it was kind of like look what he says here. It says, show us on a 4-person level 10. I mean, what is that even supposed to mean? I have no clue. That's why I had to pause there. Like, what is he talking about? Anyway, let's go ahead and just look at a little bit more of the video. We're gonna move on to another video. I'm not here to just like steal anyone's content. I don't want to like just watch his entire video. If you want to see his entire video, I do advise you to go ahead and go over to Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear. I'm sorry, Buzz Lightbeer, and check out his content over there. I don't want to take anything from his channel, because he does a great job at covering gaming content news, and yeah, I do not want to be someone who's just trying to make his content into my content, as that's not what I'm here for. I just want to I really want to just build a community around gaming content, and kind of where we go and we all together go and just look at a bunch of news sources, and we put in our opinions from what we all seen, from multiple news sources, not just watching one and then that just the end all be all. We're here on this channel. We're going to watch multiple news sources. We're going to put all of the information that we gather together, and then we're going to craft our opinion from based on what we saw as facts that was already sourced by multiple outlets. So all right, continuing on with the video here, let's take a look.
I'm going to get into in just a moment. Thanks again for your awesome and continued support for my Helldivers content. In case you haven't done so already, please consider hitting subscribe, as it's free and it really helps out the channel with the YouTube algorithms. And while you're at it, take a few seconds more to ring that notifications bell so you don't miss any of my Helldivers uploads. And here it comes, Arrowhead's answer to the raging Helldivers debate.
Saying Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear. I gotta get used to saying his name. He does a great job at covering.
Full disclosure, and also a bit of a disclaimer
Check
up
this guy
front
out.
before we get into the meat and potatoes for all the latest happenings for Helldivers. With my present IRL job obligations for today, this video is going to be freehand and just completely unscripted, which is not the way I like to do things. I like to spend a lot of time on my YouTube videos. I spend a lot of time scripting, editing, and putting blood, sweat, and tears into the overall production value of my content, and off the cuff always makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. So if I make a mistake, maybe I skip over something, just please forgive me, all right? Okay.
You're forgiven.
Let's get stuck into all the latest from
You're
Arrowhead.
forgiven, Buzz.
For all my viewers out
You do
there
a
that
great
have
job
been
at
with
your
me for
work,
any
man.
length of time, you know how I like to do things. And even though I'm laying this one down completely unscripted, I'm going to include chapters so you can jump around to the most important sections and review and take a look at whatever you want when you want to. And this one's probably going to be broken down into two major sections. Of course, we've got the patch and then this new statement from the studio. But let's go ahead and touch on the patch, and this is 1.001.003. In terms of size, it's actually quite small. My PC downloaded this in a matter of seconds and installed it into the game. It includes 2 crash fixes, which I think are kind of rare. They fixed a crash that would occur when you or another player selects a new weapon while on your ship, and they fixed a crash when booting the game after saved monitor was disconnected. So anytime you can add a little more stability into the game, I mean, Helldivers is kind of known for not being the most stable. It does occasionally chain crash. We've seen that many times in the past. So anytime you can add a little more stability, that's a good thing. 3 weapon and stratagem fixes also in today's patch. First off, the thermite grenades no longer make the orbital cannon objectives incompletable. I was seeing some of you toss those thermites onto the back of the orbital cannon. They were going off, it looks like the 4th of July, and then you could not destroy the orbital cannon, and therefore you could not complete the entire mission. Apparently that's been fixed. That's a good thing. Mines can now be shot and blown up while near a dangerous object. Personally, I would prefer that the mines were a little easier to see with all of the smoke and particle effects and environmental effects. It makes mines really difficult to see, and I probably die to those more than any other type of dangerous object or incoming projectile within the game.
Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of a hard one to agree with because a mine is a mine. When you are pretty much at war, you can come across an unseen mine and be done. Like that's like a very realistic thing that could happen in real life. I kind of want to keep it like on the more realistic side, even though Helldivers is not a very realistic game itself. I kind of like to just keep things as more realistic as possible. That's why I really like what Helldivers is doing with the game. I don't agree with the debuffs of the weapons. That's just horrible that is happening. But I do agree that we should keep it more realistic, like just to keep the fun in it. You know, we already have a bunch of dumbed down games that just isn't fun. If you want to play something that you can just speed run through and just be done with it in like an hour or two, there's plenty of games out there like that, you know. And I'm kind of glad that Helldivers is not one of those games, because I really do enjoy Helldivers. And you know, yeah, I like what they offer. You know, I just wish that they could, you know, kind of reverse a few of the weapons. You know, maybe a few of the weapons. You know, I mean, I can understand if they don't redo all of the weapons, but a few would be just tremendously more helpful than what we currently have. All right, so I encourage y'all to go ahead and just look at the rest of Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear's video. I will leave a link in the description of this video. We might come back to this video later and watch just a little bit more here of what he was saying, but I wanted to move on to some of the updates that they did make already. Looks like that they did Flamethrower bug fixes and addresses studio issues. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and just look at that while I'm, you know, going to check out some other things here that we're going to look at. And like I said, at the end of the video, we're going to craft our opinions based on the facts that we've seen from multiple sources. So that's what we're doing here right now. All right, so let's take a look at this video.
Ladies and gentlemen, Arrowhead have buffed the flame weapons, but it's not what you expect. Hello and welcome to the channel. What we're going to do is break down the patch notes. We're going to take a look at what the CEO has been saying about the game, and specifically about the game's difficulty. I think that's going to be super interesting. But I just wanted to show you guys this. This is the first game I played after the patch. It's on a lower difficulty because I'm just messing around with the flame weapons. But you can see this flamer still has the new visual, which looks absolutely horrific. It's still not penetrating through these enemies as I'm attacking them, which kind of defeats the purpose of it being a flamethrower. It doesn't engulf enemies. It doesn't feel great. It's terrible. And I hope Arrowhead can fix this. But while I've got you here about the flamers, I'll just quickly say what the flame buff is. I mean, it's more of a fix than a buff. But basically, you can now... They've fixed an issue where the flamethrower weapons bounce off energy shields, making them useless when firing within a shield generator relay. So, yeah, a bit of a buff, but it still doesn't fix any of the underlying issues with the flame weapons, and does beg the question, are Arrowhead okay with this? Because we know that the actual CEO isn't, and the CEO leads the studio. Whatever way you want to slice that, doesn't matter if within Arrowhead the CEO is more focused on maybe the business element rather than the game's development. He is still the studio head, and everything does reflect back on him. So let's break this down. So these are the patch notes that we've got today, and they basically fix a load of crashes. So you've got fixed crashes that would occur when you or another player selects a new weapon while on the ship, and fixed the crash when booting the game after saved monitor was disconnected. There are general weapon fixes and stratagem fixes, so the thermite grenades no longer make the orbital cannon objective incompletable. This will be if you spam the thermite grenades into the back of it for some reason, you could then not destroy it and then not update the objective. That's now been fixed. Mines can now be shot and blown up while near a dangerous object. Fixed the bug where flamethrower weapons bounce off energy shields, making them useless. When firing within enemy, well, not enemy, but firing within shield generator relay domes, as we've covered. There's also social menu fixes, so even more social menu fixes. They don't really elaborate on that. Miscellaneous fixes, you've got general performance improvements, some pertaining to fighting large swarms of bots. Fixed a bug where evacuate high-value assets mission stops working when the host leaves, and fixed infinitely loading thumbnails on low texture quality settings. Now, this is where things get interesting, because I want to go over these known issues, because there's one which I guess relates to the laser rover, which means it is broken at the moment, so you can kind of abuse this if you want, which would be fun. You know, we like overpowered weapons. Arrowhead, hello. Anyway, these are known issues. So
yeah, so I want to go ahead and comment on that. So we do like overpowered weapons, but to an extent. Like I say earlier, I do not like a game where I can just speed run it when, and you know, there's like a meta, and then I'm just, I'm speed running through the entire game with that meta, and then next thing you know, I'll beat the game in like an hour or two. Like when I get a game, I expect to be on that game for at least 2 years. I don't go by hours when I get a game, and then some people, they be like, oh yeah, it's like 2 hours worth of content in the game. Those games I don't buy, because I want to play a game that I know that I'm going to enjoy this game for some years. I don't want to I want to pay $60 for a game that I'm going to enjoy for a few hours, and then there's no more content to the game. Like, no, like that's why I play like Ark Survival Evolve. I've been playing that game since about 2016. It's a pretty cool game. They do have some controversy that is going on right now, and the game is kind of losing players and just losing confidence in its ability to just keep good content coming without microtransactions. But other than that, I don't want overpowered weapons to be a thing, and you just can mow down multiple units of enemies and just without a scratch. Like, no, that's not fun to me. So, all right, let's continue.
The game may display an infinite loading screen if a player disconnects during the deployment cutscene. Players may not receive friend requests sent from another platform. Invite-only games created by a friend can still be seen on the galactic war map but cannot be joined. Conduct a geological survey mission may become incompletable if a player calls in seismic probe and immediately leaves the game or disconnects. Bile Titan sometimes does not take damage to the head. Enemies that bleed out do not progress personal orders and eradicate missions. Most weapons shoot below the crosshair when aiming down the sights. Chain link fences block flamethrowers fire. I mean, everything blocks flamethrowers fire at the moment, guys. Stratagem beam might attach itself to an enemy but will deploy to its original location. And here's the one. Guard Dog Rover does not overheat when firing continuously. It just keeps firing. The laser keeps firing. Amazing. Players are able to pick up empty expendable, my god, weapons like the EAT-17 or the MLS-4X, which is super annoying. Reinforcement may not be available for players who join a game in progress. Wrong decal displayed for the B-27 Fortified Commando. We have a fix and plan to implement it soon, I guess, plan. Service technician on the ship.
And look at that gameplay, this guy is, this is his actual gameplay after the updates that came out, and I'd say, he's doing a pretty good job, like you wouldn't even, if you never heard about these stories that something had happened with the weapons and you saw this gameplay that this guy here is doing, I don't think that you would believe that there was an issue, because he's been taking down the enemies efficiently. I wouldn't say that it was effectively, but it was efficiently. I didn't see him die, I didn't see him have to respawn or anything like that, so it looks like things are kind of efficient, and just more so on the efficient side and less so on the effective side, so like I say, the effectiveness of the weapons, I guess, was not important to the devs at the time of the update, so that's why they kind of maybe pivoted to more of an efficient build for your characters, I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at a little bit more of this content here, and then I want to go over and look at some articles about the issue.
It cannot be interacted with. They complained that they were bothered too much and could not do their work efficiently. Okay, all right. So those are the patch notes. Obviously, no fix to flame weapons. None of the major issues that we've had have been resolved here. This is just a hot fix, basically. But I do want to take a look at what the CEO has been saying, because again, this does reveal a lot behind the scenes. So we're going to jump over to Discord and take a look at what the CEO has been saying, because this is awesome communication, and it does give you the sort of behind the scenes, I guess, thinking that the boss is actually thinking, right? So this is good to get behind that. see what he's thinking. And in some ways, it can be a little bit weird because as we'll break this down, you know, we'll see. But I want to show this first. So this is a user saying, what's your opinion on the Flamer visual? Do you think the new effect is better or worse than pre-patched? And he actually responds to this and says, personal only. I don't speak for the studio or doesn't speak for the studio. You do because you're the CEO. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Insane comment, but whatever.
Funny.
I liked the older one. So what we've got here is the CEO going, actually, I like the older one. What's going on, guys? Now, this can cause some friction because...
Wow. So the CEO said that he likes the old one. Don't we all? Don't we all? Yeah, that is crazy. You know, that is crazy. Let's listen to a little bit more of what's going on with this CEO.
You've got the CEO publicly saying, look, well, I guess publicly saying what we want him to say, which everybody who plays the game thinks, right? The old flame weapons were much better. They looked better with the particle stream that detonated. They looked like they're actually firing fluid rather than like a gas-operated flamethrower, which is what we've got now. But crucially, they went through enemies, they bathed enemies, they felt like a real flamethrower. It was awesome. We were getting a flamethrower war bond. We were looking forward to the primary flamer, and we're looking forward to the secondary flamer. But of course, they nerfed the shit out of them and just destroyed them for I don't even know why. It's actually an insane reason. So on the one hand, the CEO agreeing with the community makes sense. You're going to win points for that because the community want to hear the boss say that. On the other hand, when you say things like I don't speak for the studio, you do. And then the other issue is, who in the studio has made the flamethrower changes? They're not particularly going to be too happy with the big boss man saying their work's crap, which is effectively what's going on here. But the
It does not make a lot of sense. Like the CEO came out and said he liked it the old one, which is what everyone is thinking. And yeah, like, so, you know, that would be a good time to go ahead and just take a look at. So this here came out yesterday. You know, Helldivers 2 CEO says some developers are also disappointed with escalation of freedom reaction. The update had a bunch of nice stuff that isn't getting talked about. Okay, so you know, we have some more news here about this CEO. I kind of like this guy. You know, that guy, it looks like he doesn't sugarcoat things. You know, like when something just doesn't goes right, it looks like, you know, but at the same time, I don't want to just, you know, give him praise because he also has something to do with this new update where you know, all of the drama that's going on right now, where the things have just been debuffed to oblivion, which didn't make any sense to me. So, you know, this is just a little bit of what was going on here. I did not go through this article, so we're just gonna take a look at some important paragraphs in here first before we just kind of, you know, highlight on anything. Yeah, so says here, I think a lot of you fairly point out what the fuck we went through this earlier this year. Why are we here again? Okay. Before explaining that sometimes long lead times on development can cause issues for the team, what you see is the result of weeks and months of development work, he said. Some changes that time before they show. Okay. That's fair. I mean, you know, I'm not a game developer, but I couldn't imagine that will play a part in you know, what gets initially dropped. So say like if you have a if you have a game that you're building out over like a year's period of time, and at the time you did not have, and you know, like let's say like it's a limit of time, you have a year to build this game, and in that limited of time you do not have enough of it to implement balancing issues, you know. So that means that those balancing issues will be pushed out in the production line, you know, of the game, and players will have to deal with this balancing issue for, you know, maybe an extended period of time. Maybe it could be a shorter length of time, but there will have to be an update later on that will fix whatever did not have time allocated to it before the game was released. You know, that's pretty much what patches are and things like that. Like say like if a update comes out and then later you see those patches come out, that just mean that they did not have time to implement those fixes before the deadline came, and they had to drop those. They had to push that update into production, and then come back later with patches of bugs that they already know about before they even drop the game. You know, if that makes sense to you. All right, so let's move on here. So yeah, let's just wrap it up. Like I say, go ahead and take a look at Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear's entire video. You know, he's pretty good guy. You know, he's well versed in the gaming news content area here. And this guy here, I just so happened to stumble up across his video, and it had the gameplay with the new updates, and I just wanted to take a look at what was going on with that. So yeah, so this is the part where we go ahead and we craft out our own opinion about what we saw from multiple sources. So we have the flamethrower was somewhat, you know, kind of they tried. I don't want to like say the wrong thing here and then it just be a complete BS of an opinion. So pretty much the flamethrower was kind of reversed into its prior state of use, which, as we saw, is not really that. It just looks like they just tried to do something with it since there were so many complaints on it. So now we have that. So anyway, the other fixes and patch notes looks to be pretty good. Like I say, this guy here, like I said, did y'all see him die at any point? He was using those weapons that were debuffed previously, and I did not see him die. I saw him take some hits, and he was knocked down to the ground, and he rolled around a little bit, healed up, and got up, and started back pursuing the enemies. So unless he's just that good, go ahead and just lay down in the comments some issues that y'all are seeing with these new updates, because like I said, I'm gonna be following these news stories from here on out. This is my first video on this topic, and before this I was trying to do gaming content, but I got bored with just trying to do gaming content, and I just want to kind of do some journalism. I'm not like the pro. Say like take a guy like this, LT Buzz Lightyear. See, this guy is a journalist. He has what it takes. I'm not this guy. I have to do some research and some learning on exactly how to get up to the level of LT Buzz Lightyear. So that's why I say, you don't have to just sit here and just listen to me because I know I suck. And but this is my first video on this, so, and I'm just now getting more comfortable with just speaking on the mic, speaking to the audience, and just laying out my opinion. So all right, yeah, that was the content. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. Check out I believe his name is pronounced Stylosa, and LT Buzz Lightyear. Those guys have been doing their thing for a while. As you can see, he has 700,000 followers, and Buzz Lightyear have like almost 250,000. So they've been doing their thing for a while, man. Go over there to their channels, give them some love, y'all. All right, I'm out.